Are you ready for the home inspection process, or are you about to walk straight into one of the biggest deal killers in real estate? All right, the home inspection is often where deals fall apart, and most sellers and buyers really have no idea what's coming. But with the right preparation and some strategy, it can go smoothly instead of being super stressful. Hey everyone, I'm Simona Fino. Welcome to Living Southern Oregon. All right, whether you're buying or selling, I absolutely love helping clients navigate the process with confidence, and this includes the inspection process. All right, let's start off with the home inspection. So this is a professional evaluation typically paid for by the buyer. Now, right now, a home inspection in Southern Oregon is going to cost around $400 to $500. Now, it depends on what you're having inspected, right? If there's a pool or something like that, or an additional shop, that's going to be a little bit more. Now, you may also want to have a sewer scope. This is going to be about $150 to $200, and this looks at the line between the house and the street, which homeowners are responsible for. So if you're buying an older home or a home with large trees on the property, this is definitely a good inspection to get. And if you're buying a home with a well and septic system, you're going to want to get those inspected as well. And those are going to typically run about $500 to $700, depending on the company you're working with and what you're having inspected. All right, so what are these inspectors looking for? Well, a home inspector is going to be inspecting everything from the crawl space, the roof, the attic, and everything in between. They're going to be calling out all kinds of stuff, everything as small as a missing hinge on a door or a loose toilet, to bigger things like, hey, the AC's not working. Now, at the end of the inspection, a buyer is going to be invited to attend a walkthrough with the inspector, and you're going to be able to go over more significant findings, and they'll be able to answer any questions you might have. Now, whether you are able to attend the walkthrough or not, you're going to receive a full home inspection report with photos that include all of their findings. Now, a quick note to sellers. It's really best if you're not home during the inspection process, because most inspectors don't want to be bothered as they're doing their job. And also, buyers want to be able to come and do their walkthrough with just their agent. So please allot time, usually 4 to 5 hours, to be gone. All right, now a sewer scope typically includes a video of the sewer line, and the inspector provides either a verbal or a written report of their findings. They're pretty much going to let you know right away if there's an issue. All right, well inspections, these are typically including the well flow and water quality testing. Now, the well flow report is usually received within about 48 hours of the test, and water quality tests take about 7 to 10 days to get the reports back. Now, a sewer inspection typically includes the septic pumping, and then the inspection of the tank itself, and then all of the visible components. Now, if they find an issue, for example, they see it's clogged, they may also recommend that you get a scope of the lines. All right, so all of these inspections are very typical, and they're contingent on the sale of the house. So unless there are really recent inspections on file, you definitely want to do your own inspections. And even if there are recent inspections on file, it may be wise to get your own inspections done so that you own the reports, and then you have recourse if the inspector happens to have missed something. Now, if you're a seller and you have the means to do so, fix obvious stuff ahead of time, like a leaky faucet or non-functioning GFCI outlets. Make sure you have your hot water heater double strapped, and that you have working smoke detectors and CO2 monitors if you have gas in the home, because these are things that are required by law. And you also want to make sure inspectors can easily access things like the electrical panel, your water heater, furnace, the attic, the crawl space, all of that stuff. Now, as a buyer, receiving the inspection report can be pretty stressful because they're long and they're likely to be filled with all kinds of things that are wrong with the house. But that doesn't mean every issue is a deal breaker. Now, the most common issues are minor electrical problems or plumbing leaks, and maybe exterior maintenance stuff like dry rot. So when you get that report, stay calm, don't panic. They're usually categorized into safety, structural, system, and cosmetic. And what you're wanting to focus on is the safety and structural items, right? Because these are the ones that can kill a deal because they can be expensive or complicated to fix. Now, the rest of the items on the report are usually kind of normal wear and tear. These are going to be your to-do list after closing. And I do recommend taking your report and fixing all the little things that came up so that those are taken care of right away. All right, next comes the negotiations. Now, this is where you're going to have a conversation with your realtor and discuss which items you'd like to have the seller repair, replace, or maybe even give you a credit. Now keep in mind, you aren't asking for everything that comes up on the report, but rather just the important things, like a plumbing leak or dry rot, or if there's a safety issue with the electrical system. So if the seller is unable to do a repair, maybe they don't have the funds or they're out of state, so it's really difficult, you can ask for a credit, which would give you the funds to be able to do the repairs yourself after closing. Now, as a seller, you're going to be going over the repair addendum, which is where the request of repairs is going to be on, with your realtor, and you're going to decide which of the repairs you agree to do. Now, if the buyer has asked for something that feels really unreasonable or that you simply can't do, maybe you don't have the funds, or maybe it's honestly just too much of a hassle because you're not even in the home anymore, you can decline to do that specific repair, or you can offer a credit in lieu of doing the repair. Now, if you feel the bid that the buyer's provided is too high, you can also look at getting your own contractor estimate so that you feel confident in the amount that you're crediting. All right, another alternative for both buyers and sellers that might be helpful is a home warranty. For example, if you've got an HVAC unit or appliances that are really old or at the end of their life, but they're still working, a home warranty would cover those things should they die a month after escrow closes. And, sometimes that does happen. All right, so after repairs are done, the buyer has the right to have their inspector come back in and check the work to make sure it was done correctly. Now, this is usually done for a fee of about $100 to $150, and typically we also ask for invoices of proof of the completion of work, so the buyer has a record of what was done and by whom. Now, one thing both buyers and sellers need to be aware of is the inspection timeline. So there's a due diligence timeline period during which all inspections and repair negotiations must be completed. So it's important that both buyers and sellers get all of the information they need, like bids, inspections, anything deeper that they want to go into, in a timely manner. Now, your realtor is going to help you keep on schedule with those, but you also want to make sure you're paying attention to those important deadlines. Another thing both buyers and sellers need to keep in mind is that the market conditions matter. In a seller's market, sellers can stand firm on smaller requests and decline to do those. In a buyer's market, you're going to want to be a little more flexible. Just remember, you want to breathe through the inspection process, stay calm, and just take it one step at a time. In most cases, everyone involved is wanting to take the steps to get the transaction closed, and everyone wants both buyer and seller to be happy. All right, well, I hope all of that was helpful information and that you learned something about the inspection process, whether you're a buyer or a seller. But if you have more questions about the process, or if you want to compare rates of what people are charging and you want more information about that, or if you're looking to buy or sell in the coming months, give me a call. I'm happy to help you through the process. All right, one last reminder, will you please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up? All right, thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time.